At a house on Rostraver Road in Belle Vernon. You can see there from that camera angle the flames and the smoke. We're going to have more on that coming up in just a bit. Chopper 11 arrived on the scene. We're told that smoke is now white. No flames at this point, we're told. No one was hurt. There's the video from Chopper 11, but you can see the extensive damage there. Firefighters now inside that structure working to put out all the hot spots. We'll have more on these breaking stories coming up throughout this newscast. Another big story, winter has returned.
Yes, scattered snow showers right now and dropping temperatures. I'm sure you can feel that. Meteorologist Scott Harbaugh tracking the changing weather conditions for us in Severe Weather Center 11. Scott?
It was 51 at midnight. Now wind chill about 25 degrees outside, so it's been a big drop. I mean, it is the middle of January. Just haven't had much winter so far this month. Storm tracker Doppler 11 radar. You can see the snow showers dropping to the south. Still some raindrops mixing in the Pittsburgh area, but notice farther north you go. A couple brighter areas of white, one near Butler, one near Franklin. Air is still above freezing. Ground's still warm, so it's going to be hard to get anything to stick during the day. We're 38 in Pittsburgh right now. We've come up a couple of degrees. 35 right now in Butler, 37 in Greensburg. But factor in the wind and the wind chill right now in the 20s. Scattered snow showers throughout the day today. Notice nothing overly organized, and it's going to be hard to get anything to stick until this evening. But we could pick up a quick 1 or 2 inches of snow north of I-80 as we head toward the evening hours. Temperatures will backpedal quickly this afternoon into this evening, mid-20s by 10 o'clock tonight. Are focused on a bigger system coming in for the weekend and the impacts that could have on your weekend plans. I'm putting together a new storm tracker and impact graphics on what you can expect during the day Saturday. I'll have that for you coming up in about 15 minutes.
Breaking right now, House managers are set to formally present the articles of impeachment against President Donald Trump to the Senate any minute now. This is a live look inside the U.S. Capitol this afternoon. The Chief Justice will swear in all 100 senators who will serve as jurors in the impeachment trial. But now an explosive NBC interview is threatening to shake up the proceedings. Lev Parnas is an associate of the president's personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani. He said the President Trump knew exactly what was going on in Ukraine and directed it, even while the president continues to try to discredit the proceedings.
Know exactly what was going on. He was aware of all of my movements.
We have a hoax going on over there. Let's take care of it.
Parnas says he is willing to testify, but it is still not clear if any witnesses will be heard. And more breaking news on what is at the center of the impeachment trial. The U.S. Government Accountability Office says the Trump administration broke the law by withholding Ukraine aid. The nonpartisan watchdog group concluded the president is not able to legally substitute his own policy priorities for that which Congress has enacted into law. You can count on Channel 11 to bring you continuing coverage of the impeachment trial tonight on Channel 11 News starting at 6.
Pitt police are warning students to be on the lookout. They sent out alerts after an attack and break-in on campus. Channel 11's Mike Holden joins us live at Oakland with the new information. Mike?
Gordon, good afternoon to you. 2 crime alerts within the last 2 days happening just 2 streets apart from one another. Pitt students found out about these through an alert on their cell phones. We had the chance to talk with many of them, and they say they are on high alert and on the lookout for these guys. I want to show you specifically where this happened. Look right here. University of Pittsburgh, as well as city police, are working to track down a suspect who tried to break into this Oakland home. Officers were called to South Bouquet Street just before 8:30 Wednesday night. The person living there said the suspect tried kicking in a door. When officers got there, the suspect took off, but he left behind a gun outside of this home. Police say he ran down this alleyway. He was then spotted taking off multiple layers of clothing along Oakland Avenue and has not been spotted since. This incident happened just 1 day after police say a different suspect followed a student home along Atwood Street. Police say he assaulted him and stole his medication. Pitt students told us they're feeling uneasy.
We get these alerts all the time, and we're a little jaded by it, I'd say. But it always makes me a little weird to walk home by myself nowadays.
I carry pepper spray with me, always. Just something to protect myself, but we always make sure we lock the doors at night and everything.
Out here live this afternoon in Oakland. Again, no arrests in either incident. Both suspect descriptions are extremely vague and appear to be separate from one another. Coming up on Channel 11 News at 5, we're taking a closer look at the investigation and talking with more students about ways they're working to protect themselves. Reporting live in Oakland this afternoon, Mike Holden, Channel 11 News.
A Washington County woman is accused of keeping her sister locked in a cage. According to state prosecutors, Leona Beiser kept her older sister in a wooden cage in their home in Centerville. The house has no running waters. Family members tell us the victim has the mental capacity of an infant, and the cage the victim was kept in was actually a wooden pen so she would not fall and get hurt.
Sometimes people try to do what's best and take on too much and don't realize what they're doing until it's too late. The allegations are true. I think that might be what the case is.
Family members say Beiser took her sister into her home after their mother recently passed away. Beiser now faces a long list of charges, including false imprisonment and neglect. The victim, meanwhile, is in the hospital, and doctors say she is improving every day.
Police are looking for a gunman in connection with a deadly shooting in Westmoreland County. The victim's body was found inside a car parked outside the East Ken Manor Apartments in New Kensington. These are images from our trip partners. The shooting was reported at about 5:30 last night, and police say the victim was shot several times. His name has not been released. A big question still hangs over a murder trial that's continuing today. The defense claims that this was a case of mistaken identity. The man on the left charged with the crime says his twin brother on the right is the guilty one. Channel 11 has been following this case for years. It started when Michael Wilson was gunned down in front of a dollar store in Jeanette in 2017. Police never found a gun, fingerprints, or DNA, but they had surveillance video of the shooting. They arrested and charged Daryl Tolbert McGee with the crime. His attorney claims it was actually McGee's twin, Dwayne. Dwayne was killed in 2018. We expect closing arguments today. Tune into Channel 11 News at 5 for the latest.
A suspected bank robber unmasked. He's accused of a holdup in Robinson Township, Police say that he made off with thousands of dollars. Channel 11's Liz Kilmer has more on how police tracked him down across the border in Ohio.
Police say it was the middle of the day. The robber went into this bank here. He had a ski mask on, he had a weapon, and he ended up getting away with thousands of dollars in cash, but not for long. He made it across state lines, but eventually police caught him. He made it far, but didn't get away. Channel 11 obtained this mugshot for Montauk Howard, who's now booked in an Ohio jail for a brazen robbery here in our region. Our news partners, WTOV, learned it was Wednesday afternoon when the suspect, wearing a ski mask and armed with a weapon, went to the First Commonwealth Bank in Robinson Township, stole $8,000 and took off. But with the help of traffic cameras catching his plate, police tracked him to Wintersville, Ohio, first to a home and later pulled him over here in this silver car and recovered cash. Folks in Robinson Township told us they're glad he was caught.
I think it's crazy because I work here and I had no idea that that happened. I guess I'm glad that there were cameras, even though some people don't want them. It's probably a good thing in this case.
And at last check, he was in a jail in Ohio. We're working to find out exactly what charges he's facing. We'll have the very latest tonight at 5. In Robinson Township, I'm Liz Kilmer, Channel 11 News.
A Pittsburgh man is set to be sentenced today for robbing a bank and threatening to shoot the teller. In September, Christian Moore pleaded guilty to bank robbery and firearms charges. In 2017, Moore robbed the First National Bank along West 8th Avenue in Homestead. He faces 20 years in prison and a $250,000 fine.
An update on the local college football player who was arrested for DUI with his one-year-old son in the back seat. Devin Sims is now suspended from playing at Slippery Rock. Police arrested Sims on Saturday in New Eagle, Washington County. Police say they found marijuana and a bottle of alcohol in the car. In addition to Sims' one-year-old son, 2 other people were also in the car. Both were under 21. A record number of guns seized at America's airports. In 2019, agents found more than 4,400 firearms in carry-on bags or on passengers. 87% of those guns were loaded. Pittsburgh International Airport set their own record. 35 guns were found last year. Passengers caught with a gun at the airport, even if they're simply forgetting it in their bag, could face a $4,000 fine.
Police plan on charging 2 people caught on camera dumping a litter of kittens by a dumpster in Westmoreland County. We first brought you this video in October of the kittens and the mother cat being abandoned behind a Hempfield Township store. We can tell you that the animals were rescued and are safe.
A bill that would ban handheld cell phone use while driving in Pennsylvania has passed the State House and is headed to the Senate. The plan allows drivers 18 and older to use their phones only if they're using Bluetooth or hands-free technology. Anyone under 18 can use a phone for GPS, calling police, or when the vehicle is stopped. Critics have a problem with it, though, calling the version watered down. Drivers will have to be stopped by police for something else in order to get a citation. Violators, though, would face a $150 fine. A man's life savings confiscated at Pittsburgh International Airport. What his family is doing to make sure this doesn't happen to anyone else.
There he was, big old black bear staring right at me.
Yeah, they're supposed to be hibernating. The local park where a big black bear was caught on camera out and about.
Thieves caught on camera smashing their way into businesses across our area. The one thing connecting all the crimes.
Snow showers pushing through the area this afternoon. I'm updating Storm Tracker to pinpoint where that snow will start to stick to the ground.
And a live look from the U.S. Capitol, or at the U.S. Capitol. The impeachment process moving forward. Adam Schiff and 6 other House managers formally presenting the articles of impeachment against the president to the Senate. The breaking details are ahead.
You're streaming WPXI now, your source for original local shows. Corruption, fraud, scandal. Veteran reporter Brian Ross shines a light on accused criminals. Brian Ross Investigates, Friday at 9 p.m. right here on WPXI.
Covers weather everywhere you live.
And we have the experience to get it right. We know the unique weather patterns across our neighborhood.
It's why it can be snowing in Beaver County,
while it's dry in Westmoreland County.
Weather coverage you can count on.
Watch David Johnson and Lisa Sylvester on Channel 11 News, 11 at 11.
Breaking right now, House managers read the articles of impeachment against President Donald Trump aloud on the Senate floor. Let's listen in.
Conditioned 2 official acts on the public announcement that he had requested. A, the release of $91 million of United States taxpayer funds that Congress had appropriated on a bipartisan basis for the purpose of providing vital military and security assistance to Ukraine to oppose Russian aggression, and which President Trump had ordered suspended. And B, a head of state meeting at the White House, which the President of Ukraine sought to demonstrate continued United States support for the government of Ukraine in the face of Russian aggression. Number 3, faced with the public revelation of his actions, President Trump ultimately released the military and security assistance to the government of Ukraine, but has persisted in openly and corruptly urging and soliciting Ukraine to undertake investigations for his personal political benefit. These actions were consistent with President Trump's previous invitations of foreign interference in United States elections. In all of this, President Trump abused the powers of the presidency by ignoring and injuring national security and other vital national interests to obtain an improper personal political benefit. He has also betrayed the nation by abusing his high office to enlist a foreign power in corrupting democratic elections. Wherefore, President Trump, by such conduct, has demonstrated that he will remain a threat to national security and the Constitution if allowed to remain in office, and has acted in a manner grossly incompatible with self-governance and the rule of law. President Trump thus warrants impeachment and trial, removal from office, and disqualification to hold and enjoy any office of honor, trust, or profit under the United States. Article 2, obstruction of Congress. The Constitution provides that the House of Representatives shall have the sole power of impeachment, and that the President shall be removed from office on impeachment for and conviction of treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. In his conduct of the office of President of the United States, and in violation of his constitutional oath faithfully to execute the office of President of the United States, and to the best of his ability preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States, and in violation of his constitutional duty to take care that the laws be faithfully executed, Donald J. Trump has directed the unprecedented, categorical, and indiscriminate defiance of subpoenas issued by the House of Representatives pursuant to its sole power of impeachment. President Trump has abused the power of the presidency in a manner offensive to and subversive of the Constitution, in that the House of Representatives has engaged in an impeachment inquiry focused on President Trump's corrupt solicitation of the government of Ukraine to interfere in the 2020 United States presidential election. As part of this impeachment inquiry, the committees undertaking the investigation served subpoenas seeking documents and testimony deemed vital to the inquiry from various executive branch agencies and offices and current and former officials. In response, without lawful cause or excuse, President Trump directed executive branch agencies, offices, and officials not to comply with those subpoenas. President Trump thus interposed the powers of the presidency against the lawful subpoenas of the House of Representatives and assumed to himself functions and judgments necessary to exercise the sole power of impeachment vested by the Constitution in the House of Representatives. President Trump abused the powers of his high office through the following means. Number one, directing the White House to defy a lawful subpoena by withholding the production of documents sought therein by the committees. Number two, directing other executive branch agencies and offices to defy lawful subpoenas and withhold the production of documents and records from the committees, in response to which the Department of State, the Office of Management and Budget, Department of Energy, and Department of Defense refused to produce a single document or record. Directing current and former, number three, directing current and former executive branch officials not to cooperate with the committees, in response to which 9 administration officials defied subpoenas for testimony, namely John Michael Mick Mulvaney, Robert B. Blair, John A. Eisenberg, Michael Ellis, Preston Wells Griffith, Russell T. Vaught, Michael Duffy, Brian McCormick, and T. Ulrich Breckbull. These actions were consistent with President Trump's previous efforts to undermine United States government investigations into foreign interference in United States elections. Through these actions, President Trump sought to arrogate to himself the right to determine the propriety, scope, and nature of the impeachment inquiry into his own conduct, as well as the unilateral prerogative to deny any and all information to the House of Representatives in the exercise of its sole power of impeachment. In the history of the Republic, no president has ever ordered the complete defiance of an impeachment inquiry or sought to obstruct and impede so comprehensively the ability of the House of Representatives to investigate high crimes and misdemeanors. This abuse of office served to cover up the president's own repeated misconduct and to seize and control the power of impeachment, and thus to nullify a vital constitutional safeguard vested solely in the House of Representatives. In all of this, President Trump acted in a manner contrary to his trust as president and subversive of constitutional government, to the great prejudice of the cause of law and justice, and to the manifest injury of the people of the United States. Wherefore, President Trump, by such conduct, has demonstrated that he will remain a threat to the Constitution if allowed to remain in office, and has acted in a manner grossly incompatible with self-governance and the rule of law. President Trump thus warrants impeachment and trial, removal from office, and disqualification to hold and enjoy any office of honor, trust, or profit under the United States. Mr. President, that completes the exhibition of the articles of impeachment against Donald John Trump, President of the United States. The managers request that the Senate take order for the trial. The managers now request leave to withdraw.
Thank you, Mr. Schiff. The Senate will duly notify the House of Representatives when it is ready to proceed to trial.
All right, well, there you heard it. This marks the official beginning of the Senate trial, but the actual trial itself won't begin until next Tuesday.
Majority Leader.
Later today, the Chief Justice will swear in all 100 senators who will serve as jurors in the trial, and you can look for all of today's developing details tonight at 5. Actually, we are going to stick with this a little while longer.
The Chief Justice of the United States will preside over the trial as required in Article 1, Section 3, Clause 6 of the United States Constitution. Also, under the previous order, the presiding officer has been authorized to appoint a committee of 4 senators, 2 upon the recommendation of the Majority Leader and 2 upon the recommendation of the Democratic Leader, to escort the Chief Justice into the Senate chamber. I ask that the presiding officer do so now.
The Chair, pursuant to Order January 15, 2020, on behalf of the Majority Leader and the Democratic Leader, appoints Mr. Blunt of Missouri, Mr. Leahy of Vermont, Mr. Graham of South Carolina, and Mrs. Feinstein of California to escort the Chief Justice of the United States into the Senate chamber.
So for the further information of senators, there will be a live quorum call prior to the arrival of the Chief Justice at 2 p.m. today. I ask unanimous consent that the Senate stand in recess subject to the call of the Chair.
Without objection, the Senate stands in recess subject to the call of the Chair.
All right, as you see, they just took a recess in those proceedings.
Senator Mitch McConnell speaking there, and of course this marks the beginning, the official beginning of the Senate trial. The actual trial won't start until next Tuesday. There are more proceedings coming up later on this afternoon. NBC News is going to be cutting in with those. Right now, we're going to send things over to Scott Harbaugh.
Your severe weather Team 11 forecast.
Now, winter has made a return to the area. Might not be a ton of snowfall, but you can definitely feel that colder air. More seasonal temperatures have worked in. Live storm tracker Doppler 11 radar in the Pittsburgh area had some flurries, a snow shower come through, and there are still a couple areas, the pink and the green. We still have a little rain mixed in. We're not talking freezing rain or sleet, but snow showers and pretty good burst of snow south of Butler. Another one just south of Grove City, approaching Slippery Rock. So occasionally you'll get a heavier snow shower this afternoon. The problem is with the air temperature above freezing by 4 or 5 degrees and the ground temperature still fairly warm, it's going to be hard to get anything to stick in much of the area this afternoon. You folks in Franklin, you're down to 30, Mercer down to 32, so Mercer County, Venango County, Forest and Clare, you'll be the first to see the snow stick during the course of the afternoon, primarily to grassy surfaces, and then tonight, probably pick up a fresh inch or two along the I-80 corridor. Waynesburg and Morgantown still at 40 degrees right now. Pittsburgh, 38. Temperatures will downslide the rest of the afternoon, and the wind chill will be a factor. Forecast wind chill 2:30 this afternoon, 25 in Pittsburgh, 23 in Butler. Notice by the time we get into the evening hours and first thing tomorrow morning, wind chill down in the single digits, Butler, Kittanning, and Indiana, so definitely a brisk start to the day on Friday. Falling temperatures this afternoon, snow showers and windy. The snow may mix with rain, especially from Pittsburgh on south. Tonight, scattered snow showers. Most areas could pick up a dusting or a light coating. However, up near the I-80 corridor, east into the mountains, you could expect about 1 to 2 inches of snow. And then tomorrow, 32 degrees, clouds, some sunshine. Quiet day tomorrow, not so quiet Saturday. Storm tracker Saturday morning, 6:30, bringing some snow into the area. Now, there will be a couple waves of snow. The first one moves through, then we'll quiet down to about 10 o'clock. Notice the pink already to the south. We'll see some snow, change over to some freezing rain, and eventually rain by late in the day on Saturday before ending as some rain showers Saturday evening and then transitioning back over to snow showers late at night. If you have plans late morning on Saturday into the early afternoon, roads could be a little slick. Crews will be out treating. The good news is when we do get into the freezing rain and sleet for most of the area for an hour or two, it'll be at about noontime. So sun angle's high. Even though the sun's not out, you still get that daytime energy. And with the crews out, that could certainly help. But I do expect from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. for the wintry mix to have a medium to high impact on plans around the area. Even if you're not talking roadways being slick, your sidewalks, tree branches can get a coating of ice on them during the day Saturday, and then it becomes rain later in the afternoon. So Saturday, the wintry mix changing to rain during the afternoon. High temperature 40 degrees. Sunday, snow showers 27 and much colder Sunday and Monday. Wind chills both days in the teens with overnight lows down to about 13 degrees Sunday night, 14 degrees on Monday. Now, we'll be getting an updated storm tracker, new timing on the weekend system coming up next half hour.
Police are looking for the culprits who shot up several homes in Lawrence County. Those homes on Highview Drive in Shenango Township and others in a Newcastle neighborhood were hit by paintballs. Police believe that it's a group of teenagers.
I'm glad they didn't hit the windows or do any other damage to it. We just got the house painted, so, you know, it's just, you know, my dad's 85. Like, leave him alone.
Officers say that they've been having trouble for the past month with houses being egged or hit with paintballs. They're hoping someone has surveillance video so they can identify the vandals.
They risk their lives to fight fires, but those volunteer fire departments face an uncertain future. It costs a lot to run a department. 90% of the state's fire protection comes from volunteers. But gear costs almost $5,000 per firefighter, and a truck can cost up to $1 million. Last fall, the state auditor general dedicated almost $60 million in state aid, and that's the first time in 6 years that the state aid has gone up. Pirates are making some upgrades to PNC Park. Chopper 11 pilot Ruben Campos capturing these images of seats removed from the lower portion of the stadium. According to our partners at DK Pittsburgh Sports, the team is improving seating throughout the stadium and fan experience.
Target 11 was there yesterday as Pittsburgh police leaders walked into the mayor's office. Many of their officers are upset over their new union contract. Officers wanted more money up front. They say firefighters and medics both got better deals. Target 11's Rick Earl has more on the contract controversy.
Pittsburgh police commanders at City Hall this afternoon for a closed-door meeting with the mayor to talk about the controversial police union contract. The union upset with the arbitrator's decision awarding officers a 16% raise over 4 years. The union wanted more money up front, and they contend the fix was in. Many officers have expressed frustration.
I think it was an eye-opening meeting for some of the commanders. There's two sides to every story, and you know, one side has been very vocal, and the other side has not been so vocal publicly. And I think that sooner or later, the other side will come out and there'll be a better understanding of the entire contract process.
The mayor has defended the award and said it was all done by the book. Meanwhile, the Police Officers Union has filed a complaint with the American Arbitration Association in an effort to reverse the contract.
I'm not getting into the details of a private conversation of the mayor and his command staff.
With the contract controversy swirling, the public safety director added his support for police.
I've traveled the world and I've never seen a public safety department work as well as Pittsburgh. They come to work and do their job to the best of their ability and exceed what we expect of them.
And Rick says that the mayor's chief of staff would not talk about the details of the meeting, and the public safety director would only say that they did discuss the contract and that more information will come out soon.
A judge has rejected an appeal by a former daycare owner who was convicted of endangering the welfare of children. In 2015, Lisa Knecht was convicted of child endangerment for allowing her husband to have contact with children, even though she knew he had been convicted of sex offenses against children. Knecht owned Bright Beginnings Daycare Center in Latrobe. According to the Tribune Review, she claimed her defense lawyer did not properly represent her at trial. Knecht is serving a 27-year prison sentence. A new stalking charge has been filed against a Westmoreland County man who allegedly put a tracking device in his ex-girlfriend's car. The Trib reports the charge was filed against Joshua Petrel of Penn Township. According to police paperwork, mechanics found a GPS device hidden behind the glove box. Petrel had already been charged with stalking and harassment.
An East Pittsburgh activist has become a politician, and he says it's all because of the Antoine Rose case. Jonathan Reyes says that he's always been engaged in his community. He's attended numerous council meetings over the years to keep up with what's going on and voice any concerns. But he says he felt compelled to go further after a former Pittsburgh police officer, Michael Rosfeld, shot and killed Antoine Rose Jr. And now one of his big issues is more police accountability.
I think it is extremely important for us to have a civilian police review board as well. But I also want to really focus on our ordinances and possibly change them.
Reyes says that he wants to create more opportunity for neighborhood children, including transforming an empty lot into a park. Michael Bloomberg's presidential campaign is the latest to start hiring staff here in Pennsylvania. 35 staffers were hired this week. 90 more are expected soon. Bloomberg also plans to open a dozen campaign offices across the state.
America's drug epidemic is claiming more lives than we think. New research from the University of Pennsylvania suggests the number of drug-related deaths in 2016 were about double the amount reported by the CDC. Scientists say that's because those statistics only include deaths directly caused by drugs, like overdoses. But drugs can kill in other ways by way of HIV, suicide, heart disease, and impaired judgment. There's a new program happening right here in Pittsburgh to stop the deadly trend. Allegheny General is joining a new movement to help reduce the number of people addicted to opioids. The program offers hospitals funding to put toward 4 different means of treatment for patients suffering from addiction immediately following an overdose.
Of those 4 pathways, we can initiate some medication-assisted treatment with buprenorphine, which is a drug that helps stop that craving.
This initiative also provides inpatient care and outside agencies who can help those addicted seek other forms of care besides medication.
President Trump is promising some big action to promote and protect prayer in schools. Jacqueline Fell is in Washington with why the president is taking on a fairly controversial issue.
President Trump is looking to shore up support among evangelical Christians who previously played a key role in electing him. Today, we expect the White House to issue new federal guidance that the president says will safeguard students' ability to pray in school. Public schools aren't allowed legally to promote prayer or religious symbols. Legal and religious experts say it's not clear what meaningful action the president could take without violating that precedent. A group of students from Christian, Jewish, and Muslim faiths will join the president in the Oval Office today. The White House tells us each of these students has suffered discrimination for practicing their religion at school, but wouldn't give any further details. In Washington, Jacqueline Fell, Channel 11 News.
Earlier this month, President Trump touched on this at a speech to evangelicals at a megachurch in Miami. He praised state efforts to expand school prayer and warned against opposition to it.
A proposal by Pope Francis isn't getting a lot of support from his predecessor, and for the first time in centuries, Catholics are being taught theology from two popes. Pope Benedict, who resigned 7 years ago, wrote part of a new book called From the Depths of Our Hearts. In it, he backs the Church's tradition of celibacy for priests, but Pope Francis is considering relaxing the rule in some areas where the ministry is struggling.
Some in the church see this as breaking with the tradition, to put pressure on Pope Francis not to even go down that road of the ordination of married men.
The Vatican responding, suggesting Pope Francis agreed with his predecessor on celibacy, but added, quote, in the most remote areas, the shepherd has to think of the faithful, end quote.
The deadline is looming for Pennsylvania residents to get their real IDs. AAA is advising travelers to act fast on applying for the real ID. Beginning in October 1st exactly, all U.S. residents will need one of those to board a flight, enter a military base, or any federal facility. To get a real ID, you can apply online or visit a driver's license center.
A bear caught on camera roaming around Raccoon State Park. Black bears are common across the state, but not in this Beaver County park. Plus, it's the middle of winter when bears are supposed to be hibernating. Channel 11's Renee Wallace spoke to the park manager about the recent bear sighting there.
There he was, big old black bear staring right at me.
Lori Pepka was in Raccoon Creek State Park Monday looking for eagle's nests when she saw this, a black bear just about 25 feet away.
I was able to snap a picture, and then he jumped in the water, and at that point I figured it was safe for me to get out of my car, and I videoed him swimming across the lake.
The sight of a bear swimming across the lake also caught the eye of another park goer. Damian Nouse grabbed his cell phone and captured the bear climbing up the opposite hillside, steadily making its way up the slope, unaware his presence had caused such a stir.
Occasionally you will see a black bear, but it's just a very rare sighting.
The park manager told Channel 11 bear sightings in this part of Beaver County are so rare, this is the first one he's seen in 2 decades.
I've been here 20 years, and this is the first time that I've seen a picture of a bear passing through Raccoon Creek.
This is where one of the sightings took place here in Raccoon Lake. The bear was actually swimming across the lake. Now, the operations manager at the park told us that he's not sure if the bear lives here or he was just passing through. The bear left a little something on his way through, though. This paw print, you can see Lori's hand next to it to give it scale. Folks who enjoyed the park year-round were surprised to hear of the sighting, but were happy to share the 8,000-acre park.
I think you just have to watch where you're going. I'm not afraid of the bear. I'll probably scare him before he scares me.
Well, the sighting has created quite a buzz in the park. Renee says she saw a couple of people with their cameras trying to get a glimpse. The park manager urges everyone to keep their distance, though. Thieves caught on camera smashing their way into businesses across their area. The one thing connecting all of the crimes.
I feel like every patient that comes in and gets a vaccine is telling me stories of them waiting for months to years.
Yeah, a local pharmacist taking matters into his own hands, just how far he's traveling to make sure his customers have the care they need.
Snow falls, we use the area's most powerful tools to keep you prepared.
The most extensive school closings, always scrolling.
I'm tracking snow where you live.
And our traffic trackers show you live conditions. I'm bringing you urgent updates from the breaking news desk.
Count on 11 Alert on Channel 11 Morning News.
Whether the weather is good or whether the weather is bad, count on Armstrong support and service all throughout the year.
6.
Followed by NBC Nightly News at 6:30.
The new shingles vaccine is in high demand. Health officials say it has been on limited supply.
In some cases, people have been waiting months for that vaccine. Channel 11's Ryan Houston learned how a local pharmacist is taking matters into his own hands to try and cut down on that wait time.
So this is the vaccine?
Correct. Yeah, this is the vaccine. It's a 2-dose series. So you can see it's this is the first and second dose.
Walgreens pharmacist Tyler Liebergon says Shingrix is the most effective shingles vaccine on the market right now, but the wait for it can be challenging.
I feel like every patient that comes in and gets a vaccine is telling me stories of them waiting for months to years.
So he decided to do something about it. These are pictures of Tyler and his fiance driving in his off time to other cities and states. He picks up the vaccine, brings it back, and gives it to those in need.
We've been able to, since August, give over 900 doses.
It's a labor of love for Tyler. He says doctors diagnosed him with a genetic disorder. And as a child, he needed over 30 surgeries. He says it's one of the reasons he goes above and beyond.
So to be 27 now practicing healthcare in the community, it's a blessing and something that I walk into work thanking God every day for.
And if you need the vaccine, he says it's best to call different pharmacies until you find one that has it. According to the CDC, the company that makes Shingrix is increasing the supply for 2020.
A smash and grab crime spree caught on camera. The one thing police say links the crimes.
Snow showers in the area now, but a bigger system coming in for the weekend. I'm updating Storm Tracker to track the impacts on your plans.
When news is happening near you, Channel 11 is there.
Aliquippa, Coraopolis, Moon.
We cover news everywhere you live.
That's what makes Channel 11 News different.
We're in McCandless, Cranberry, Butler.
For news from where you live,
watch Channel.
News 11 at 11. Accurate details, experienced coverage, trusted weather source.
I'm tracking a strong storm moving into Greensburg.
All in the first 11 minutes of our newscast. Count on Channel 11 News 11 at 11 tonight. Watch The Wendy Williams Show weekdays at 11 on Channel 11.
Police say this group of thieves went on a $150,000 crime spree, smashing their way into stores across 3 counties, stealing motorcycles, dirt bikes, and ATVs. Channel 11's Kara Sapaida found out how the suspected ringleader got caught.
Watch as two men get out of this U-Haul at the AAA Motorsports in Rostraver. The door rolls up and 3 more men get out, all of them wearing hoods and masks. Troopers say in that group was the ringleader, Karan Smith. Police issued a warrant for Smith last week, and tonight he is in custody. According to police, Smith and his fellow suspects did smash and grab style burglaries, always renting a U-Haul. Surveillance always catching multiple suspects jumping out, smashing the business's glass doors with a sledgehammer before stealing multiple motorcycles, dirt bikes, and ATVs, which is exactly what was caught on camera here. After smashing the front door, each suspect runs out, wheeling a bike right up the ramp, arriving and leaving in 3 minutes flat. Police say AAA Motorsports is one of at least 5 other identical smash and grabs connected to Karan Smith. Last January, they say the group stole $35,000 worth of bikes from All Pro Motorsports in Moon Township, $18,000 at AAA, $36,000 at West Hills Honda, $48,000 at Tri-Stakes Power in Smith Township, $13,000 at Extreme Sports in Claysville, totaling more than $151,000. The owner at AAA was happy to hear about this arrest, still extremely angry. He told us there was a big hiccup in their plan. If you take a close look, one of the bikes falls over, blocking the entrance to the U-Haul, and they end up throwing them all in. He believes it prevented them from stealing much more.
So far, 3 suspects in this ring have been arrested. The Attorney General's office is prosecuting this case, and Carol learned more arrests are expected.
Steak and Shake restaurants are suddenly closing. 6 sit empty in the Pittsburgh region. The Trib learned the chain closed the restaurants as it moves toward a franchise-based business model. The latest restaurant to close was the one in Hempfield. We put together this map of the other locations that suddenly shut down. No word this morning or this afternoon if they will reopen. Golden Arches have been removed from a McDonald's in the Strip District. It is the latest step after the franchise closed the location along Penn Avenue at the end of last year. According to our partners at the Pittsburgh Business Times, there are still a few months left on the lease. It's a prime spot. The property owner is starting to figure out what to do next with that space.
Toyota is making a big bet on flying cars. It's investing nearly $400 million in Joby Aviation, a California startup that's been working on electric aircraft for more than a decade. They'll design and build a fleet of aircraft that take off and land vertically for use in a ride-hailing service. Joby recently teamed with Uber to also create an air taxi service that Uber claims could be running by 2023. A company that helps make teeth white is going green. Colgate is launching a vegan-certified toothpaste inside an industry-first recyclable tube. Most tubes of toothpaste are made of aluminum and plastic, but the new toothpaste tube is made from high-density polyethylene. That's the same material used to make milk jugs. Most everyone shops online these days, and a law passed in California could have a huge impact on the information companies collect about you when you shop. Our consumer advisor, Clark Howard, explains how it works.
I don't know if you've noticed, but there's something really weird when you go to most any website right now for the first time in 2020. And it's new privacy rules that have gone into effect in California that a lot of companies can't figure out how to separate people who live in California. So all of us are being given new choices to control what happens with our information. Some are just telling you about what your privacy rights aren't, but others are actually giving you the option of controlling and restricting how your personal information is used. If you're given that ability, take them up on it. You may think, I got nothing to hide. They can see anything about me. Let me tell you, every time another database has deep information about you, there's a real problem for you if they get hacked. So protect yourself and use those rights to restrict what they see and what they do with what you got. I'm Clark Howard.
And you can see more from Clark Howard on our streaming app. Just search for WPXI on Roku, Amazon Fire, and Apple TV.
Your severe weather Team 11 forecast.
A live look at Storm Tracker Doppler 11 radar. We do have some snow showers in the area. Still a couple areas where it's mixing with some raindrops. Temperatures Waynesburg, Morgantown still near that 40-degree mark right now. Notice north of Butler into Armstrong County, a couple bursts of some heavier snow showers. But in the Pittsburgh area, still trying to make its mind up as to what it wants to do. Checked outside about a half hour ago. Some pretty big snowflakes, but I could see some raindrops mixing in a couple of spots. Slippery Rock right now, you're getting a pretty good burst of snow. No snow squalls this afternoon, but definitely some snow showers that could coat some of those mulch beds and grassy areas, especially the farther north near I-80. Live looking at downtown Pittsburgh, sun trying to peek through, mostly cloudy skies, 38 degrees right now with the west-northwest wind at 20, easily sending the wind chill down into the teens. Here are the current temperatures, and again, colder air continues to press from north to south, so 34 in Butler right now, 38 in Pittsburgh, Morgantown still at 40 degrees, but with the wind factored in, wind chills in the 20s in most areas, except for Morgantown where it feels like 34 degrees. Now, this is not that out of the ordinary for the middle of January. We just have seen temperatures so warm for the last couple of weeks that to have this kind of cold in place just seems so much colder than it has been. And it does. It feels about 25 degrees colder right now than it did yesterday afternoon. Temperatures falling this afternoon, scattered snow showers and windy. Those winds gusting to 30 miles per hour. And again, snow could mix with some raindrops in a couple of spots from Pittsburgh on south. Snow showers tonight. Hit and miss variety. Could pick up an inch or two up near the I-80 corridor and east into the mountains. But Pittsburgh, Beaver Falls, down towards Washington, Greensburg, just a coating on some of the grassy surfaces and maybe even some of the secondary streets. Tomorrow, mix of clouds and sunshine. We barely make it back to freezing tomorrow. That sets us up for our weekend system with the cold air already in place. I've updated Storm Tracker. 6 a.m., a couple little bands of snow coming through. Now, the snow is going to be more prevalent along the I-80 corridor. There'll be a break for much of the area between about 8 and 10, except along that I-80 corridor where the snow will continue to fall. Now, warmer area is going to work in, and you can already see this at 11 o'clock Saturday morning. Notice that little tongue of warm air coming up into the Mon Valley. The pink is a mix, which could be some freezing rain and some sleet. And by the time we get to about 3 in the afternoon, it's pretty much all rain from Butler, Kittanning, Greensburg on south and west. You folks in the mountains, you're going to get some pretty decent freezing rain during the afternoon on Saturday. Clarion County, Venango County could be pretty dicey most of the day, but notice most of the precip tails off as rain showers until the colder air can work back in. So watch out for some icy roads, especially late morning on Saturday. Crews will be out, and because it'll be late morning, early afternoon, the sun angle will be relatively high. That will help to get things melted a little bit just with that extra daytime energy. Tune back in tonight. Chief Meteorologist Stephen Cropper will have updated timing on the weekend system, including where the snow should be the most prevalent, and then scattered snow showers. Windy and cold Sunday and Monday with highs only in the 20s.
We already know smoking is bad for your health, but a new report says it's also really hurting your finances. In fact, Pennsylvania is one of the most expensive smoking states in the country. According to Wallet Hub, the average Pennsylvania smoker will spend a whopping $1.9 million over their lifetime. That includes price per pack, health care costs, and lost income.
The Pittsburgh Zoo welcomed a new member to its family. This is Nessie, hiding under the water there. She is a rescued elephant seal, rehabbed and released 5 times before SeaWorld decided she just can't survive in the wild. So SeaWorld called Pittsburgh to take her in. Dogs come in different shapes and sizes and colors, but not usually green. The chemical inside the mom's body that caused this reaction.
Count on Severe Weather Team 11 Alert on Channel 11 Morning News.
When snow falls, we use the area's most powerful tools to keep you prepared.
Pittsburgh's most extensive school closings are on your screen all the time.
In Severe Weather Center 11, I'm tracking snow totals in your neighborhood.
While I direct our fleet of traffic trackers to show you live road conditions. From the breaking news desk, I'm bringing you urgent updates all morning.
Count on 11 Alert on Channel 11 Morning News. happening in the morning. Watch Channel 11 Morning News.
A North Carolina dog gave birth to a litter, and one was a colorful puppy.
Yeah, literally. There were 8 puppies altogether, and the family was surprised when the 4th one arrived. That's because that puppy was green, although looks almost kind of yellowish.
Neon almost, right?
Yeah. It's not something you see every day, so the family wanted answers from the vet.
I started freaking out because it was green.
The sac that they're in when they're in their mom, there can be meconium in there, and that tends to stain them.
Never heard of this. Well, the family named the puppy Hulk. The vet says he won't stay green forever, eventually fading back to white after several baths.
He's adorable, and I love the name.
Yeah.
Perfect. That's all for Channel 11 News at noon. Our next newscast is tonight at 5.
Thanks for watching. Have a great day.
An empty field transformed into an inspiring place of hope. A local Girl Scout group created this Serenity Garden full of positive messages and resources to help with suicide awareness.
Somewhere for kids to go so they could be uplifted.